Okay, I'm recording this video after close of trade Thursday, the 8th of July 2010, and our little rally continues. We ended up at 1067. You can see here I've just got a daily chart of the E-mini. Cyclical support here is holding. We've kind of rallied, strongly yesterday, and then today's little push a little bit higher kind of came into filling the gap, and we've reached a little bit of resistance. I just want to show you that on a couple of charts. If I drop down just one time frame to the 135-minute chart, you can see we're coming up to a cyclical turn on the 135-minute chart. So I'm expecting during Friday's trade we're kind of going to hit that cyclical turning point. Kind of critical to see what happens from then. And then if we drop down to the 81-minute chart, so there are five bars in a day on an 81-minute chart, you can see here we've had this pullback and a downtrend. Our cyclical resistance level, I talked about this yesterday, has kind of played into today at the highs, and I think we're going to see a little bit of profit taking, and we might have a little bit of down day tomorrow. What's going to be critical is, we've got a bit of a double top forming here. Let me just show you on the longer time frame tick bar charts. This is the 40,500 tick bar chart, my highest time frame tick bar chart. This is yesterday's activity. On Wednesday we had this strong rally, exhaustion buying kind of coming into the close, and then today's activity we kind of sold off. It was a little bit of a complex correction. I'll just show you that on another chart. You can see we hit bullish divergence towards the end of the day, and then we kind of took back off to these highs, and we've kind of come into those highs. We've got stopping volume on both of these highs here, and we've got a professional blue bar at the end of the day, suggesting there's a little bit of kind of professional profit taking going on there. And you can see the amount of buying that we've got is less than we had in terms of this exhaustion buying the day before. So this is in some respects could be a little bit of flush kind of trade where we're kind of flushing out the last of the buyers. Now what I'm suggesting here is that we're just going to have a little bit of profit taking because we've got this trend in place on the daily time frame here. This I would expect to run until we get across on the daily time frame, but there is going to be resistance along the way, and what I'm suggesting is we're coming into resistance here with this kind of double top being made. We've had our exhaustion buying volume, less buying volume going on here. We get a little bit of a bearish divergence kind of setting up here, so tomorrow's activity I'm expecting to be weaker, but if we break on through these cyclical resistance points on the 81-minute chart, we could see a strong rally develop. So I'm pretty open-minded about this. I'm not suggesting we kind of go short or anything like that. I'm just suggesting that we're going to have a little bit of pause in what I see as a continuation of the uptrend. Today's activity was kind of nice when we looked down at the 4500 tip bar chart. Coming into the open we had all this kind of amateur buying kind of first thing, the professionals taking opportunities to take profits, bearish divergence here, and we kind of had our end of trend warning signal print a little bit later, just about an hour after the open. That was kind of being made. You can see all these amateur up bars and bearish divergence with this end of trend warning signal. Sometimes the end of trend warning signals come below the absolute peak here. Sometimes they kind of push on through a little bit further. That just shows that it's just showing that the market is kind of just exhausted in terms of price activity. So we've got the amateurs with these yellow bars buying into. They're expecting kind of breakout to news highs. No, we've got a bearish divergence, cyclical turning point. The market kind of rolls down, and this is the complex correction that I was just talking about here. We make this kind of down move in a couple of three different legs here, 1, 2, and then 3. But each of these legs is fairly weak. Each time we move down, probably by about another 5 points, kind of on the downside. You can see all these bullish divergence patterns at these lows here as we're putting in those that kind of complex correction. So that's after an uptrend move, when we have a complex correction like this, it suggests that the uptrend is still in place, and so we broke above our cyclical resistance level here into kind of new highs at the end of the day. I just want to talk about a couple of good entries kind of early on in the day, but this was a nice little catching the low. Here we had a cyclical turning point. We came into no supply here. All these professional blue bars down at this cyclical turning point. And if I go back down to the 500 tip bar chart, you can see the time on this is just after 1 o'clock. It's about 1:30 that low was put in. And when we look down at the 500 tip bar chart, here's the activity around 1:30, and you can see it was an end of trend warning signal on the lowest time frame. And when I have an end of trend coinciding with a cyclical turning point on the higher time frame, I really like those setups. And you had all of these professional blue bars coming into these lows. We'd had our exhaustion selling at this point here as we broke below here. Then we had a small little pullback, end of trend warning signal prints. Then the market takes off. We have bullish divergence here, and on the lows here you can see there's a Rambo pattern with an amateur bar kind of moving into the lows there. It looked like it closed up, but it was kind of making new lows, and then a little bit of an amateur down bar here. And then as soon as the professionals kind of step in after that and then kind of buy the little breakout here, you know the market's going to kind of rally, and it kind of rallied for about another 10 or 12 points after this this low was kind of put in. There's my old friend the Rambo pattern right at the lows of the day. So a couple of comments on the daily activity, and I get this question a lot, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a video recap on it. And this is for people who don't trade the E-mini, the ES contracts. They want to trade the mini Dow, mini Nasdaq, something like that, and they say, well, what kind of, you use day trading chart setup using a 500 bar tick bar chart to start with. Go back here, the 500 tick bar chart is my lowest time frame. My intermediate time frame is 3 times that, 1500 tick bars, and then the highest time frame is 4000, again 3 times the 1500, so 4500 tick bar chart. And they're saying, well, you know, if those are the settings for the mini, what should I be using for the Dow? So here's just a little kind of simple way of kind of seeing what that ought to be, and I'll explain this. What I've brought up here is a daily chart of the E-mini. So this is the at ES contracts. This is the continuous contract. It's at ES without a .d. So .d would just give me the daily data, so without the overnight session. Without the .d, that gives me the day and the night session. So that's everything that's happening during a 24-hour period. So this is 1440 minutes. There are 1440 minutes in 24 hours. On TradeStation, that allows me, when I go into my format settings here, to be able to look on an intraday chart 1440 to look at the tick count. So instead of volume here, I'm actually counting the total number of ticks or trades during a day. So each of these bars is 1 day, and I've just put on, this is the canned indicator, volume indicator from TradeStation at the bottom of the chart here. And what that shows me is that roughly over the last couple of months, there have been approximately 500,000 trades a day during a 24-hour period on the E-mini. So there we go. So that's 500,000 trades, 500,000 trades. It kind of moves around quite a bit, but you're looking for something just that you're comfortable as an average. So let's say there's 500,000 trades during a day on the E-mini, and that corresponds for me to a 500 tip bar chart as my lowest time frame, then the 1500, then the 4500. Now let's have a look. So if 500,000 is the number for the ES, let's just have a look at the NQ. So this is the Nasdaq contract. Just pull that up. Again, exactly the same chart during a day. And during a day here, you can see that on average, the Nasdaq contract, the E-mini Nasdaq contract, is trading about 150,000. So instead of using 500 ticks as your lowest time frame chart, what I would suggest here is you use 150 ticks as your kind of lowest time frame, and then the intermediate time frame would be 3 times that at 450, and then the highest time frame would be 3 times that again, which would be 1350. So that's what you use for the Nasdaq. And then let's have a look the YM. So this is the mini Dow. Everybody very keen on, particularly small traders are very keen on the YM. I'm not particularly sure why. Personally, I stick with the ES, but anyway, people are interested in the YM. So for the YM here, exactly the same chart, you can see it's about 100,000 contracts traded during a day. So the settings would be lowest time frame 100 tip bar chart, 3 times that, 300 tip bar chart for the intermediate time frame, and then 3 times that for the highest, which would be 900 tick bar chart for the highest time frame chart. So that's the mini Dow. And then lastly, people trade the Russell as well, and this is a new symbol for the Russell. It's probably been around a few years, but I just don't look at it very often. It's TF, so it's the Russell 2000 index, and again similar kind of volumes to the YM, to the mini Dow, about 100,000 contracts traded during the day. So again, your lowest time frame chart would be a 100 tip bar chart, intermediate would be a 300 tip bar chart, and then 3 times that, the highest time frame would be a 900 tip bar chart. So there we go. That's just a handy little way to be able to figure out what the settings ought to be for the different time frames on those different kind of day trading E-mini type charts.